Those are gonna make the best planting. Okay, so I just got home with my little cupcake. So let's do a second reveal and then maybe take some pictures so we'll have some reference photos. Here's the pretty box. Try to do this one-handed. Oh my gosh. They're so pretty. Okay, so I got a little cupcake stand, so we'll take them out one by one and put them on the stand. Look how cute. It's a little bitty thing, but it'll be so cute. So let's take out the first one with the strawberry. Okay, look how sweet. So we probably want to turn it this way. So that could be a tutorial. Take two. Also gorgeous. And oh, look at how sweet this one is with a little string. Okay, cupcake 3. And then, look at that though. So once I get all the pictures, I don't know if you heard my husband, he was like, yeah, get your pictures, paint away so we can eat these. You know they're gonna be delicious. Okay, and then cupcake 4. Okay, so I'm staging them just a little bit. I put a canvas in the background and I've added some little flowers. And so I think we're gonna just stage all of them and they'll make such cute little pictures. And then we're gonna add in our own little background. I think you'll like it. Okay, y'all, I just can't. Look how sweet. So I've used lots of little flowers with my cupcakes. I'm taking lots of pictures. So I'm gonna have a hard time deciding which one to use. Maybe I'll put them all up as reference pictures for you to choose and you can pick the one that you like the best. All right, well, oopsie, this whole section didn't record. So at any rate, I sketched out our cupcake and I made my cupcake proportionately too large as compared to the floral part. So what you can do is if you like some of the parts, but maybe not all the parts, then instead of like redoing the entire drawing, I just took out a piece of tracing paper and I put it over it and I literally retraced the flower and the cupcake stand. And then if you can look really closely here, if I can zoom in a little bit, you can see how much bigger my original cupcake was. And so I basically just pull down on everything. I kind of make up where the lines would have been if it had been a little bit shorter. So I just repositioned it. So now I have a cupcake that is proportionately correct so that it looks a lot better. And another part that also did not get recorded was this part here where I just take a micron pen and I just trace it out. Okay, so now that it's traced, I want to show you a little method to easily get it to transfer onto your watercolor paper or whatever material you're going to put it on. Today we're going to use watercolor paper because I want to do a pretty gingham pink in the background. And so it'll be watercolor paper and then the rest of it will be acrylic paint, but it'll hold it just fine because you know, the watercolor paper is about 140 pounds, and so that's plenty to hold the wet medium of the acrylic paint. So All right, so what I would like to show you to do, and I teach this in our little camps too and workshops, is if you're going to make a mistake, make it on your sketch, or make it on something that's not really important to you. So that way, when you go to paint or to transfer your image, you've already made the mistakes and you've already seen what works and what doesn't work, and you're not having to erase on your watercolor paper or your canvas. So you can always use transfer paper, but I don't like to use transfer paper because if you do make a mistake transferring, a lot of times the transfer paper will actually transfer onto your watercolor paper or your surface, and you can't really get it out. So one of the easiest things to do is literally just to take a pencil. Graphite is easy to erase, and if you make any mistakes, you can just erase them on the actual piece that you're doing. Now, on these flowers up here, I am not going to actually put those in, and I may not even put in all of these leaves because I want to make a suggestion of where they should be, but especially on the flowers, because once you start painting, you don't want to have little marks there where you're going to have your watercolor, and you're not for sure until you get into it just exactly where you want to place every single thing. So what you'll do is you'll just turn it over, and then just over the lines, make a pretty dark mark. You probably remember this trick from school. Alrighty, so the first thing I want to do is I want to put in a little gingham background. I think what we're going to do is we're going to pick up some permanent rose and maybe combine it with some alizarin crimson and maybe some cadmium. And I think we'll do the bottom of this a pretty red too. So all of the background is going to be done in watercolor, and you don't want to get too fussy about this. I poured out some alizarin crimson straight from the tube, and I'm just going to come in, and I'm using a flat brush. It's maybe 3/4 of an inch, and I'm just going to try to do some lines. And I'm not going to be too particular if they're not perfect, because I don't necessarily want them perfect. The object of the game is not to be perfect, but whimsical and fun. Okay, so this time I mixed a little of the alizarin crimson and the cad red in, and I'm just getting it a little bit more watered down. And I'm just gonna take more and just pull straight across. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Isn't this gonna make the sweetest little background, y'all? So cute. So cute. I need to fold this one this way. A little bit more depth. Oh, you guys, isn't that going to be sweet? And so down here, we'll put in some red and kind of make a very light wash of color for the table that it's sitting on. Then I'll put some more permanent rose over here on this side. All right, so we need to let this really dry, and then we'll come back and add in our picture and take it from there. Okay, so as you can see, I've got all the major lines kind of traced over. So I cut it out so it would fit in here. And what I want to do is I want to make a little hinge at the top so that if I forget a part, I can always come back to it and it will be right back in the exact same spot. So I'm going to use a stylus. It's just a little mechanism with a little ball on the end, and I'm going to trace over it, and then we'll get to painting. Alrighty, so we've got everything laid out. I've got some cadmium red, I've got orange, green gold, white, ultramarine blue, and some magenta. And we're going to just start basing in some colors. So I'm going to base in some white here, and I'm just going to come along and just start laying down some of the white to kind of color in. Just fill it in. Okay. Then I'm also going to go ahead and base in. All right, and so now I'm going to mix a red for our, it's really a dark pink. It's a little bit of a magenta, but we're going to mix that right now to do our cupcake liner. And I'm going to mix a little bit of cadmium red, a little bit of magenta, and a little bit of white. Where it's headed. Pretty close to what I'm wanting. A good mid-tone range. And we're going to just start by filling it in. We'll do it more on the under portion of it, bottom. Pretty berry colors. And so now, since I'm doing the upper portion of the cupcake liner, I'm going to add some more white to it for the upper portion of it. It's going to kind of be our highlighted portion. Worry so much about making everything perfect. Just laying down some color and establishing some of the areas, highlights, shadows. All right, so I added just a little touch of green gold to my darker color. That's going to desaturate it just a hair. That way I can add that in, maybe a little bit. Add that in. Change it just a little bit where the actual stuck to it a little bit. Little variation in color. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to put on another layer of my white. I have to do this several times to build up a good cover of white. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to try to make a little bit of a brighter magenta pink color. So I'm going to use some magenta and some white. That's magenta and white. Going to start putting that on my little blues at the top. Again, I'm just basing in some color. When you're doing this, follow the lines, the rows. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up some of the green gold, and I'm just going to start basting in the leaves. And again, just turn it where you can get it at a better angle for yourself. I might add a little bit of white to that to make it a little bit more opaque. Much better. Now the flower is more of a peachy color, so we're going to add a little bit of orange. Okay, a bit of orange, a little bit of cad red, some white, but more of a coral color. Pretty. Really nice color. It's actually a really good color for the inside, and so I'm going to just start laying down. I'm going to add a little bit of that dark in there at first, other mixture with the green in it. I'm going to lay down right in the center, and I'm using a round brush, a little bit more red in that part, using a round brush. I'm going in the direction of the petals. Now, you don't have to actually fill every little section up. You kind of want that pink from the watercolor to show through. It'll be fine. It'll look nice. So this is our first layer. We'll come back in a little bit and we'll do some other layers, highlights, some shadows, colors. Switching brushes again to a larger round brush so that these petals take quite so much work. Want it to be dark right now. See what I'm saying? It really is better to not have the little lines there if you can help it, because when you actually go to start painting it, sometimes you don't really want to put them exactly where the little lines are. But nonetheless, it's better when you're first starting, especially. But as you get a little bit more apt to what you're doing, then you can see that you don't always have to have all the little lines and suggestions in there, because it may not be exactly where you want, which is exactly why we didn't put the blue flowers in. Okay, so far it's looking really cute. So right now we're going to just let it kind of dry, and then we're going to come in and put in some of our blue, first layer of our blues, and then we'll go back and start layering in some more of the icing and putting the highlights and lowlights on our leaves. All right, so I put down some more ultramarine blue. So I want to get a nice darker blue. Okay, so I just put down some more ultramarine blue, and I added just a touch of white, and I'm using a angle brush for this, and I've just started, and I want to start to put in just a few little lines for some suggestions of some flowers here. You can just put them wherever you think they would look nice. Look at your reference picture. This is just the first little layer. We'll come back and add some more to it. All right. So if you'll look at your reference picture, you can see that there's several of the darker, and then there are just a few of the light blue. And for the lighter blue, I'm going to use phthalo blue, which is more of a warmer blue. And you'll see the difference. Okay, so here's the phthalo blue next to the ultramarine blue. And the color is just a little different, just a little bit brighter. It's really pretty. And again, I'm not taking it up too much. I want to keep a nice medium tone in it. And these, I'm just going to do 4 little petals. Kind of stick me out. Then later on we'll come back and put in some highlights. All right, so now we're going to work on the portion of the cupcake at the top, and I'm going to pull out, I'll just turn my palette this way. I'm going to pull out some heavy body white and a little bit of neutral gray. Okay, so now I'm going to come in and I'm going to just start making it a little bit thicker here, and I'm going to turn it to the side since my lines of my cupcake are going this direction. And I'm going to build in and make it look a little textured, just so it gives it some dimension. And I'm going to go in the direction the cupcake was in, the folds of the icing. Layer, second layer was a little thicker. I don't know if you can tell, but it just adds more texture to it. And it gives it that last bit of coverage. And if you don't have heavy body, you could always just add modeling paste, make your paint a little thicker, or you could just add more layers of the liquid. I just love the texture of the heavy body. All right, so I'm going to come in now and I'm going to add just a little bit of orange, a touch of green gold, and more white. Like a lot of white. Even more that. Probably picked up too much orange. Okay, so now it's kind of turning into like a buttery cream color, which is exactly what I want. And I'm going to go in and maybe use a little small brush this time. And then pull up just enough to start putting the lines in. Those shadows where the different layers of icing were. All right, so now with that mixture, I'm going to add just a little bitty teeny touch of the blue. Because if you'll look over in the right hand corner, you'll see that there is a little bit of a blue shadow. I'm going to kind of put that in. Just a bit more blue. cute. All right, I'm adding in just a touch of the neutral gray. Just going to add in a few dots where just going to add in a few dots where the icing folds. And they're like little air bubbles. Do you see the little air bubbles? I'm just going to add a few of those here and there. Right. Perfect. So let's go back to our cupcake liner, and we're going to switch the palette back around. And I'm going to use a smaller brush again. And this time I'm going to add in some of the highlights to really make it stand out so you can really see where the highlights are on this. All right, so I just added a little bit more white, and I'm going back to the original color that we did for the liner, and I'm adding some more white to that. I'm making it even lighter, and I think I'm going to add just a little bit more of the magenta, make it a little bit more pink. And I'm going to turn my page to start with more light. There we go. And there's one little section here, very, very bright, very reflective area right here. I'm going to make that, I might just make it almost complete. I like the way that's looking. What I just did is I added a little bit of pink right here, which is the strawberry cupcake itself. And then I added a little bit of magenta with a little touch of cad red just to kind of show that there's some filling in there. You can add that if you want to. You don't have to do that. I just noticed it on the one that I had at home, and it had that, and so I thought it was kind of cute, so I added that in. All right, so now let's go back to our flower, and I'm going to rinse my brush, and we're going to start putting in a second layer. I'm going to mix this first layer. Quite a bit of white here. You see, you don't want to completely cover up what you have already painted, just the tips of them. Down a little bit. Go back in and pull some of that dark back in. So there's another layer. That's your second layer. And I'm liking it. And then we'll come back in a minute when it's dry and we'll add some even more. Layers to it. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come back in and add a little bit of green to our leaves, and this time we can get a nice coverage on our leaf. I'm going to add some ultramarine to that. A nice, healthy. All right, so I just added some ultramarine blue and some green gold to make a darker part, and then I just used kind of the green gold that was left over to do the upper part. All right, so now we're going to go in and we're going to come back in and put some more color on our blue flowers, and this time I'm going to use a smaller brush, so it's going to be the ultramarine blue again, and I did clean up my palette a little bit, and I'm going to add in some white. And then we're going to add in some highlights on those. You don't want to cover up everything, just cover up portions. Just be real loose about it, just here and there. Make a fuss. Look at that, isn't that cute? So adorable. And then I'll add in just a little bit more blue to make like a mid-tone. We did that backwards, but that's okay. Even brighter. I'll clean my brush, and then I'm going to go back to the phthalo blue. Add a bit of white to that. Start layering that on top. More white. Bit of orange mixed in. Okay, it will tone it down. Actually, in the center there might be a little bit of green anyway, so exit. All right, just kind of throw those around here and there, and it looks really balanced now. All right, and so now while I have that blue on my smaller brush, I'm going to go ahead and come into the cake stand, and I'm going to try, I might even need to get a smaller brush than this. I'm going to try to go in and show some of those little shadows. Yeah, I think I'm going to get a smaller brush. Just bear with me. Yeah, smaller brush. It's just an itty bitty detail brush. And again, I'm going to turn my paper. Okay. And underneath that, there's a little line. Okay. Here. Shadow over here. of it. Adding quite a bit of white. Get some shadow over here. We mixed a little bit of phthalo or ultramarine blue on this one because I want it to be a little bit darker on this side. Because even though it's white, it's not really white. It's got lots of shadows and little nuances. Also, for a fun look, don't exactly make straight lines. It's always good to kind of break little lines up like that so that you don't have a full-on color set. It just looks too predictable and too, well, I think it just looks a little bit too planned out. I want it to look a little bit more free and loose. So I really like that. I really like the way it turned out. I'm pretty happy. I think I'm just going to leave it just exactly the way it is. Maybe barring just a little bit more dark on that very edge over there, the corner over here. Can't even really tell. Again, this one's ultramarine blue and white. Adding a little bit more so you can really tell this is the shadowed side. Cutesy patootsy. All right, so let's come back and work on our little flower again. I am going to add some pink, some more pink to this mixture down here. I'm going to brighten it up in the center. So I added some magenta. Just want the center to be darker. If you look in the picture, it's quite a bit darker. So we're now adding another layer. Then I'm going to add some more white. Got the same color, a little bit more. There we go. Perfect. See, I need to there you go. So I added a little bit more of the magenta and more white to that mixture of orange, cad red, and magenta from earlier. And I'm just adding in a little bit more of the magenta with that mixture, mixing it all in with more white. So it gives that second layering of color. I'm going to add even more white. Just fiddle with it. All right, so I'm going to come back now and I'm going to put down some more white, and let's do a lot of white, don't we? Forever and ever and ever. Let's see. Do the palette. Make sure you do the palette. I'm going to pick up just the Cad Red and the white. I'm going to make a little mixture. Oh, it's pretty. Very pretty. A little bit. So now we're going to come in and we're going to put in some shadows on our rose. For the very center, you're going to want to put a shadow. Too white again. All right, so I'm going to let that dry really well. We're going to come back and put highlights on that. But for right now, I think it looks pretty cute. So we're going to leave it as is. Might use some of this mixture to come back in here and just reinforce this mid-tone. Okay, cool. I think, what do you all think? We did a super red here on our handy dandy little straw. Like, go full on red? No, what do you think? What do you think? I think maybe we can try it anyway. Let's try it. I'm going to round them just a little bit so it'll give the impression that the straw is round. I think I might like that. Ta-da! So cute. Yeah, top stripe. An itty bitty brush. Okay, there's a little bit of a shadow on this side. So we're going to go in and we're going to just saturate with just a little bit, tiny touch of green gold. And put it right here. And bring down that color just a hair. All right. And because I don't like my straw being quite so pink, I'm going to go back in and put a little bit more to reaffirm that the straw is actually try to do just the same thing that we did on the cupcake stand. I'm going to go in with just a little bit of blue. And just a bit of shadow. Isn't it funny how it just makes all the difference in the world? That now takes it from something that was kind of flat. Wild. It blows my mind. All right. Do something about these leaves. So I am pretty happy with the color, but I'm not happy with the texture. I'm going to come back in. And, this is some Hooker's Green. It's a pretty good green to add in. Add in some green gold. I'm going to try to make it a little bit more of a texture this time. Still going to add in that ultramarine blue. Put it in this time. Like if you look at the reference picture, there's more here at the tip. There's just a tiny bit red too. And this is our made up leaf, so we just know that the darker portion is going to be on the bottom. That's where it would tend to be shadowed. More of that red and that leaf right there. Just realized the green is out of frame. I'm so sorry. More green gold. Hooker's Green. We're going to brighten it up quite a bit. I'm mixing a liquid and a heavy body, and that's okay. Gives you the best of both worlds, huh? Uh-oh. I touched. So, oopsie, I dropped my paintbrush on my table, and then it went down my shirt and my pants, and so I had to pause the video to clean that up a little bit. All right, so I'm going to continue to put the green gold in here. Lighten it up. And I'm going to add a little bit of white now. Make it more, even more bright. I'm going to add in the leaf line here. The leaf line. Today. You can use the side of your angled brush to do that. And of course, some of this whole section. I keep forgetting to keep my glasses. I don't actually wear glasses, I just have to wear readers. It's been a lot of fun. You know what I mean? I have switched to a round brush. I don't know.
like to go around the edges of them, the little leaves. Just add in a layer. I don't know. I just like to do that. I like how it looks. All preference. If you don't like that look, then you don't have to do it. So let's go back to our rose at the top and add in some highlights. Pull some white from over here. And some more white. Some more white. Actually came in the center and around some of these edges, and I'm adding pure saturation Cad Red. I might even put some of that down here just to kind of brighten it up just a hair. Pull that Cad Red all the way through down here into the flower. Sitting here thinking we need to add some of our little pearls that were on one of the cupcakes. So take some red, a little blend here. The thing is, when you're doing these, you want to have at least a little bit of paint together. You can use the end of your paintbrush, or you can use the end of a stylus. So I found my stylus to use, and I'm just going to pick it up. You got to make sure you get quite a bit on there. And I'm just going to randomly place these little sprinkles. And we'll put highlights and things on these too, because we want them to look great. But you can't have a Valentine's Day cupcake without wrinkles. I love how they put the little pearls. So I guess you've noticed I've taken several of the pictures and just kind of combined them. At this point, I guess I need to look at my reference to see where I can put all the little pearls. I made them a little bit bigger too. I'm literally going to come on top, and I'm just while they're still wet, let that blend in with my detail brush. Give me I'm going back to middle rows. All right. Maybe just a little bit of green in there again. Do a shadow side of the little purple. Maybe more of a touch because that didn't make any difference at all. And then that was too much. That just turned green, folks. We'll let that one dry. Back to it. All right. So on the bottom where the flowers are, I'm going to come back in now with some just touches of just solid white so that I can really hone in on some of the outer petals and really kind of shape those in. And guys, if you'll just look, don't actually try to make full line, just kind of make the suggestion of a line, kind of highlight it, go around it, play with it. Don't actually try to make everything so perfect. Just want to suggest little lines. Sorry if I turned my paper. It just works so much better. You should turn your paper too. Right. Now really the only other thing I need to add are some little shadows at the bottom. And so I'm actually going to get a clean palette. This one has, I think, it's just been used a lot. So woohoo, what a party. Let's have another little party on this little palette. And let's take some magenta. And then some ultramarine, and we can try to make a little bit of a purple shadow-ish. Probably put way too much out of my palette, but that's okay. So I've got ultramarine and I've got magenta. Add those two together, make a little bit of a purple. Add just a hair of white. Too much, just to start it off. Too pink, too blue. Add just a little bit at a time. Our shadows need a lot. So right now I'm going to just come underneath the leaves here and just make a little bit of a line. With the suggestions. not mad at it. I love it. Might do a bit of shampoo here. Oh, it's so cute. Hey, look at it. Isn't it sweet? Sweet. Love it. All right. I'm going to really let this dry, and then I'm going to come back and seal it, and then I'll show you what it looks like in a sweet little frame, and maybe we can stage it for you. Okay, so I've sprayed it and it's dried, and you can see where the acrylic paint is. Look how shiny. It just brings out the color. I absolutely love how varnish can protect your painting and bring out the color. Just makes it really special. And this is really cool too, because on the watercolor it doesn't do that, but on the acrylic, look at that shine. So I'm going to cut it to size. It was just a little bit too big for my frame, and then I'll show you what it looks like all put together.
Okay, I just love this on the kitchen counter. I think it looks so sweet in this little frame. Y'all, it's just perfect for Valentine's Day in spring, which is really just around the corner. I really do love Valentine's Day. It's such a simple holiday, and it just reminds me of the love that Christ has for us. It's so simple, but so pure and uncomplicated. It reminds me of the scripture in 1 Corinthians about love. But now these three things remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of all of these is love. Thanks so much for watching. Take care and God bless.